was a boy who had nothing, no power, no status, no guarantees, just a dream. A dream so big that most people would laugh at it. But he didn't care, because from the very beginning, he decided something. He would live life on his own terms, not the way the world told him to, not the way fear tried to control him, but the way he truly wanted. And that decision changed everything. He wasn't the strongest, not even close. There were people faster than him, smarter than him, more talented than him. People who were born with advantages he never had, but he had something they didn't. A will that refused to break. He failed. Again, and again, and again. There were moments when he got beaten down so badly that anyone else would have quit. Moments where his body couldn't move. Moments where everything seemed lost. Moments where the world itself felt like it was against him. But every single time, he got back up. Not because it was easy, not because he wasn't scared, but because quitting was never an option. Most people think strength comes from talent, or luck, or perfect timing. But real strength comes from what you do when everything goes wrong. When you're tired, when you're hurt, when you feel like you've reached your limit. That's where it's decided. That's where people either break or become something greater. He chose to become greater. He didn't run from pain. He didn't hide from struggle. He didn't wait for someone to save him. Because deep down, he understood something simple. No one is coming. If you want something, you have to go get it yourself. And so he kept moving forward, step by step, fight by fight, loss by loss. Every scar on his body, every failure in his past became part of who he was. Not something to be ashamed of, but something to be proud of. Proof that he kept going. When most people would have stopped, he laughed, even when things were hard, even when the situation looked impossible, even when he was standing in front of enemies far stronger than him, because he wasn't afraid, not of losing, not of pain, not even of death. The only thing he was afraid of was giving up on his dream. That's what made him different. Most people live their lives inside invisible cages. Cages made of fear, cages made of doubt, cages made of other people's opinions. They tell themselves, I can't do this. I'm not ready. I'll try later. But later never comes. And those cages become their reality. He refused to live like that. He broke every cage that tried to hold him down. Every doubt, every fear, every limit, destroyed. Because to him, freedom wasn't just a word, it was everything. The ability to live how you want, to chase what you want, to become who you want, no matter what stands in your way. And that kind of freedom comes with a price. You will be tested, you will be doubted, you will be underestimated. People will laugh at your dreams. They will tell you to be realistic, to be normal, to stay safe. But if you listen to them, you lose before you even begin. He didn't listen. He kept going, even when the path was unclear, even when the odds were against him, even when it would have been easier to quit, because he knew something most people don't. Dreams are not meant to be easy. If they were, everyone would achieve them. There were times when he lost everything, times when he couldn't protect the people he cared about, times when the pain was so heavy, it felt impossible to move forward. But even then, he didn't give up. He cried, he struggled, he felt the weight of his failures. But he never stayed down, because staying down means accepting defeat. And that was something he would never do. Instead, he stood back up, stronger, more determined, more focused than ever. That's what real strength looks like. Not someone who never falls, but someone who refuses to stay down. Every time he got back up, he became someone new, someone better, someone closer to his dream. He didn't need to be perfect. He didn't need to have all the answers. He didn't need to be the smartest person in the room. All he needed was the courage to keep going. And that's something anyone can have. You don't need talent to start. You don't need permission. You don't need the perfect moment. You just need to decide. Decide that you're done living a life controlled by fear. Decide that you're done making excuses. Decide that no matter how many times you fail, you will keep moving forward. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that separates those who succeed from those who don't is this: the willingness to continue. When everything inside you is telling you to stop, he kept going, through pain, through failure, through doubt, through everything. And slowly, the world began to change. Not because the world became easier, but because he became stronger. The things that once felt impossible became challenges. The things that once scared him became opportunities. The things that once held him back lost their power. And that's when people started to notice. They saw someone who refused to quit, someone who refused to break, someone who refused to be controlled by fear. And they realized something. This wasn't just a person chasing a dream. This was someone becoming unstoppable. Not because he was the strongest, but because he refused to give up. And that's the truth most people don't want to hear. You don't need to be the best to start. You don't need to be perfect to win. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to keep going. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many times you fall, keep going. Because every step forward brings you closer. Every failure teaches you something. Every struggle builds you into someone stronger. And one day, you'll look back at everything you went through, at every moment you thought about quitting, at every time you felt like you weren't enough, and you'll realize something. You made it. Not because it was easy, not because you were lucky, but because you refused to give up. That's what it means to be truly strong. Not power, not talent, not status, but the will to keep moving forward, no matter what. So ask yourself, right now, are you going to stay where you are, or are you going to chase what you truly want? Because the choice is yours, and once you decide, once you truly commit, there is only one direction left: forward.